Major podcast blowing up, yeah, it's all that. Got the hottest guests for success, you can say less. Major on the mission, biggest pod on the top chart. Vision and ambitions, I'm so focused, do the hard work. Thank you for subscribing, doing it really for the people. Lamborghini taste, praying daily, make you lethal. You can make it big.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Aviation podcast, where we talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. Today, we have another special guest for you guys. He is the CEO of JetSetter. One of his famous sayings is helping you fly smarter, not harder. And someone who loves business, family, and also something that I love, which is winning. Someone who has also professed that private jets has changed his life. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest today.
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I want to treat this like a regular, normal conversation on the couch, kind of like getting to know you. Let's talk about the rundown before entrepreneurship. Was there a time where you actually, because you're in jets aviation, were you actually a part of that at some capacity beforehand, working with other companies, or is just something that blossomed into something?
Oh, yes and no. I mean, ever since like middle school, I've had like that entrepreneurial mindset. My biological father, he lived south of the border down in Mexico. So I would go there every couple of weeks and just buy a bunch of Mexican candy and sell it at school. And then it went to like dart guns outside of school, not selling them out on campus, but slingshots and stuff like that. And then once I got into high school, I started selling jerseys, which I still do till this day. It's kind of a pain, but pushing like 1,000 units per order. It's like I can't really get away from it, even though it takes up some time. But I've always had that like in my mind where it's like, man, I could sell something, make some money on the side, have a little side hustle, starting from 10 years old, 11 years old, whatever sixth, seventh grade is, selling that. And I've always been in sales. So I went from high school. I did a little bit of construction, had a little hand injury, and then I got into Costco, started learning some member service aspect of sales. And then I jumped into the fitness industry where I was a personal trainer for a while. And then I started running actual gyms as a general manager and then running numerous gyms, just selling memberships and selling health. And that randomly got me connected with someone in Carmel Valley that was selling private jets, private jet charters. And then I just took that opportunity and did that for a little bit, learned the ins and outs of aviation world, the charter world. And I just said, man, I can do this on my own. And had a little falling out with that owner and just on a Friday, came on Monday, started the company on a Monday. And here we are 7, 8 years later.
One real quick, I wanted to just share the amazing work that the Aviation podcast is doing. We're already getting so many great testimonials because of the guests that we've had on and the stories that they've shared and their actual testimonies about their success and their journey. And that journey and their successes are helping other people fulfill their missions in life. And that's super important. And that's the point and purpose of the Aviation podcast. We talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. And now we are expanding our reach and saying, hey, if you have a personal brand, if you have a business, if you have a service, and you would like to advertise on the Aviation podcast, feel free to reach out to us at the Aviation podcast at gmail.com or send me a DM or jump in the comments and we will follow back up with you. We have pre-roll, we have post-roll, we have also sponsored advertisements that are available slots for you. And this is the early bird because we're still growing and let's grow together. So reach out to us now, get your opportunity to be seen by so many people with so many influential speakers on this podcast. Now that's an amazing journey, as you continue to navigate. One of the things that I took away from what you were saying is that it's similar to my background. I used to mow grass and sell incense at the car wash. So I had that entrepreneurial gene very early on. But one of the things that I can attribute to some of the things that I do now is when I did have those moments where I was working, whether it was for group homes, whether it was for AT&T, talk about, is there anything that you were able to take from working at Costco or any of those other places that applies to your entrepreneurial journey? Was there a system? Was there a mindset? Was there training that you were able to, use in what you're doing now?
Well, I mean, Costco's number one saying is job job number one, member service. And that's sales too. As long as you're serving that client in front of you or you're serving people in front of you, like that's your main job and you're first and foremost. You're never going to close a deal unless you're serving them in a correct way. So Costco, I learned that so much. But then when it got to actual getting into the aviation industry, learning those back systems, and then basically putting it all together. Because I mean, you and I both know once you start a business, it's like you wake up that first day of entrepreneurship and you're like, all right, man, wait, no one's telling me what to do. I got to do this on my own. I don't have a schedule. I need to set a schedule. I need to set systems myself. I don't have all this backing behind me. This is all me. So I think really just taking bits and pieces of each job that I've done over those years and putting it all together and then realizing this is mine. This is the way, this is my car. This is which direction I'm going to drive it. Whether it's if I drive it off the road a couple times, once again, this is entrepreneurship. I got to get back on the road and start driving in the correct way.
Yeah, no, that's true. What are some of the misconceptions about flying private? Because obviously, through social media or through other personal experiences, people categorize that particular industry as something, right? What has been one of the misconceptions that you believe that people have about flying private?
I see a lot of ads that pop up that say, "Hey, it's cheap." It's not cheap. I don't care. I don't care what tax bracket you're in. It's not cheap. So we can kick that out of there. That's a huge misconception. I'll see ads pop up. Private jets as low as $100. I'm like, no, $100 a what? $100 a minute? Like, what are we talking about? No. So that's a huge misconception. But it really comes down for private jets is for some of these people who fly private, this is the normal for them. So it's to them it may be considered cheap, but a huge misconception. It is not cheap at all. Like just
So,
a question that I get a lot is, hey, how much is it? Because a lot of people know I'm based in San Diego. How much is it for a group of friends, six, seven friends to go from San Diego to Las Vegas? And it's you're looking at about 15 grand to start round trip.
what would you, so in this day and age that we're living in when it comes to businesses, because, I consult with a lot of executives and business owners, would you say it's important now more than ever to be active on social media and also creating a personal brand to go along with your actual company? Or is it more so about your company being the brand? How do you look at that?
Well, I started a personal brand a long time ago when I started my first company, and we didn't really talk about that, but I started a cleaning company
Okay.
when I just had some downtime, and my logo was a G, but the G was flipped over with a thumbs up. So like that was my personal brand for the longest time until I started JetSetter. But everyone knew that G around town. Like I'd sell merch and people were wearing like my stuff. I had anti 9 to 5 club when it was like the anti social club. I had the anti 9 to 5 with the G on the back. I'll go to the gym these days and I'll still see people wearing those tank tops, but that like was me. So people see that and they see Mike Howard. Now they see a private jet and they think Mike Howard. That's my jet guy. So I would say more so if you're starting a business now, personal branding is huge. People buy off people who they like. So if you can be the face of the brand, like that's a huge cheat code for you as personal brand for sure.
As an entrepreneur now, given the fact that we do have those different peaks and those highs and lows, what do you do specifically that kind of helps reset or energize you? One of the things I do, I'm a nature guy. I like to just step out and I enjoy breathing, right? And people take for granted that tool that we have, like just really intentionally breathing. Because one thing was pointed out to me at a seminar a few years ago. A guy was reminding me when you're driving in the car, you're basically tensed up the entire time and you don't even know it because you're just in that particular moment and you're not breathing. And entrepreneurship can be like that as well because we're always putting out fires and it's always going and creatively thinking about certain things. So for someone like yourself, what would you say is something that you lean on to kind of give you that balance, so to speak, which it doesn't exist, or
Yeah.
a little reset to kind of re-energize you, so to speak?
So I have my morning routine and everything where I show gratitude before I even pick up my phone. Then I read my Bible verse of the day on my app that one of my friends just put me on recently. I think I'm on like day 45 streak of doing it. So it's not something soon. But since I've had kids, I have a 7-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. And one of our nighttime rituals before they go to sleep, every night, no matter where I'm here, If I'm at home or if I'm out of town, it's a FaceTime, but we talk about our three favorite things of the day. What were your three favorite things of the day? And now my daughter, now that she talks and she's full go, full energy at 3 years old, she comes outside and sees what me and my son were doing for the longest time, and she'll be, "Hey, Dad, what was your favorite part of the day?" Mine was this. And she doesn't even let me get a word out, but she just asks and then she starts talking. But that just breaks away the whole day. Like I won't think about anything negative that happened that day. Even if I had a huge win that day, whatever it may be, like that stuff is all out the door, and that just resets me.
As far as ambition, and also when you're developing a mindset for success, right? There's always opportunities to do something better. There's always an opportunity to serve your customer better. What are some of the things that you have in place that allows you to kind of stay ahead of that, or that kind of helps you navigate it when those things come up, either with the customer or with the business scaling, getting bigger, or just making more profit?
Well, we're kind of in the middle of that right now. We just hired someone, and I told myself I will never hire someone with zero experience in this industry because it's just so tough. But I met this dude a long time ago at Cole Hatter's event. You know, Cole. We actually, I don't know if he was at Elevator Night that first night that I met you a couple years ago at Dan Fleischman's event, but Cole had a big event, and this guy came up to me and he's like, "Dude, you're the one I've been looking for forever." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're in aviation. I don't know anything about it, but I'm obsessed with like." He's like, "I don't know the back end side of it or sales of it. I'm obsessed with aviation." And this is 4 or 5 years ago. I finally brought him on in January, and we're going through each trip and stuff that I didn't really do in the past. We're putting systems in place where it's like, "Hey, this is best case scenario on this trip. This is worst case scenario. Once we get over that hurdle, we'll look back, do a little bit of coaching on it, and then go to the next step, and then go to the next step." And it really dissects the person's trip. I always use trip because aviation, but we dissect their trip from start to finish, and it helps you for the next trip and the next trip and the next. And you just polish yourself as you go. So those are some of the little systems we've just recently put in place. I slowly did that in the past, but mainly that's our main focal point right now, and that's cool that you brought that up.
Because I'm always interested in that, because sometimes we get to a point of success, or you get stuck, or you hit a wall,
Yeah,
and that creativity is not flowing the way it used to. So I'm always interested to see how other entrepreneurs tackle that, or if they're acknowledging that they're at that particular place, and make that investment into getting someone in with a fresher perspective to kind of help guide you on that next journey. Because as entrepreneurs, and I've spoken to a lot of them, business owners, sometimes there can be a little pride and ego that comes into play. But if you truly want to be successful, I'm sure you've heard this from other people, like you need a team. You
for
need
sure.
someone, a different set of eyes, either to watch your back, or just more specific, more smarter than you in specific areas, that's going to only add value to who you are in what you're doing, right?
Yep.
So in this new transition, if there's someone that's interested in doing, something similar to you, what you're doing, or on the entrepreneurial journey, what are like two or three things that they should actually look into? As far as, is there a certain mindset? Is there a certain system they should go about if they want to get into your industry, or just be successful as an entrepreneur?
To be successful as an entrepreneur, just in general, is to get started. I have many friends who have these $1 million ideas. Like, "Hey man, we've been talking about this for 5, 10 years." I'm like, "Get started. Just start. You
Yeah.
can't. You can have this all on paper. We're going to talk about this in 20 years if you do not get started." So, rule number one for me is always get started, and we can correct things from there. Um, Two, I would say find a mentor, find someone who's done what you're trying to do, and learn from them. Like it blows my mind and makes me, it like humbles me when people call me and be like, "Hey man, I need some business advice." I'm like, 5, 10 years ago, I'm like, who's calling me for business advice? But I'm here now, 5, 10 years down the road of entrepreneurship, where it's like I'm happy to help anybody,
Yeah.
anybody, no matter what. So yeah, find a mentor. First, get started. Second, find a mentor.
So I do have a question for you. And it kind of intersects your initial personal brand. Do you use your own personal cleaning service for the planes?
So I'm no longer in the cleaning service. The cleaning
Okay.
service was
Okay.
something I started when I got into the jet industry because I was working East Coast hours. I was on the 40-hour week on salary, but I was working 5 a.m. in Carlsbad, getting off at 1 because I just had my son at the time. Um, and I was off. So I was like, man, I'm kind of bored. Like, what can I do? And I went to my stepdad, who's a successful entrepreneur, and I was like, hey, man, I have a business plan. He's like, what is it? I was like, let's start a cleaning company. And the famous words of him that day, you don't even clean your room. Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, man, I can get all the gym contracts from the previous gyms because I had such a good, I was with them for 7 years, Crunch Fitness all throughout San Diego.
Right.
I opened 13 of them. So I was like, I know the owners really well. So we ended up getting those contracts. And when I was doing that, I was just like, man, this cleaning service is going to get me to where I want to get next. I know it's just a stop. Ended up helping a friend out, and now they're running the cleaning service. I'm no longer involved in the cleaning service. Once I started JetSetter, it was 6, 7 months of cleaning still, and then but it's a whole different ball game cleaning jets versus cleaning offices. I have a really good friend who's in aviation, who does cleaning. He does jet cleaning, interior, exterior, polish, everything. His name's Shiny Jet Brett, but he's yeah, that's his main thing right there.
No, that's fantastic. So walk me through that emotion after creating this company as an entrepreneur. Then you need customers, right?
Yeah.
Did you seek within yourself in your circle? Did you cold call? Did you just do advertising? And what was that moment like when you first got that first client and customer and they're off in the friendly skies and money is an account?
So I didn't really, I guess I had a little bit of nerves, but a lot of entrepreneurs think, hey, let me quit my job right now, start a company, I'm gonna be successful. I took, I always tell people the smart path. I started my cleaning company as a side hustle and I built it to where I was able to walk away from the corporate life forever. So the emotions on the day that I walked away from that corporate life, I put it in my head. I'm mentally unemployable for the rest of my life. I'm going to make this work. There's no plan B. This is plan A, rest of the way. So I had the cleaning company knowing if the jets didn't work, I could fall back on the cleaning company. And then once the jets started taking off, no pun intended, I got that first client who I booked, which actually it was a really big trip. It doesn't always work out that way, but it was a really big trip that made some good profit on it, on a cross country trip. And I was like, okay, this is going to work. And that's when I kind of started filtering out of the cleaning company and doing the jets. But 2 months later, we went 45 days without getting a sale. So that's when the emotions really came into it. I'm like, okay, did I make the right decision? Okay. And you just start having thoughts going left and right. You're like, did I do this right? Am I doing that right? And then you just really have to settle down and say, okay, let me look back to why these people didn't book the trip. Kind of what we do with our new salespeople now, how we go hurdle by hurdle by hurdle. I had to reverse engineer everything and be like, okay, this is why this person didn't book. What can I do on this next one? And you start valuing the people that you have in front of you, not looking, okay, I have this lead, this. Each person, you just dial down on that one person, service them, then go on to the next. But it's worked out since then.
No, that's good. I'm always interested in those first moments, that first
Yeah.
client, that first sale, like what was the emotion? Was there a celebration? Like what did you do after you got that first account? Like what did you specifically do?
Had a little meeting with my stepdad because he's my business partner in this. He's been my
Yeah.
business partner in everything that we've started. And yeah, we didn't really celebrate too big because it was one trip and I knew more were gonna come. Um, but it really was like, hey, we got this one. When's the next one? We booked a couple more, and then that 45-day period hit. We did a little bit more celebrating after that 45-day dead period.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think our first real celebration is when we crossed 1 million in revenue,
Yeah.
and I think I still have the video saved somewhere, but I had my laptop in hand. I was in my room when I booked the trip that put us over 1 million. I had Alexa put on Lil Wayne and Millie, and I was just dancing with my computer. So, a little small victory, but a little celebration. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "We just crossed 1 million," and so we do celebrate little milestones here and there, though.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think it's super important. Like we celebrate all the time. Like, if I sell a book, we celebrate. I get a
I love it.
notification for something, a class, an online class. We celebrate, and obviously not nothing crazy, but it's just like a
Yeah.
good hoorah moment. So let's take it inside of the jet. Like how their experiences in a jet. Like have you attracted the right personnel every single time, or is there was like what was the data you was able to pull in regards to like I can't book this type of clientele anymore? Have you had those moments, or how's that experience been?
Yes and no, because you get some partiers, like you get a lot of people in the entertainment industry too. Like I have some of the coolest musicians, some of the coolest rappers that fly with us, but then I also have some who just don't listen when it's like, hey, there's no smoking on this flight, and smoking happens on this flight, and then you're the one who has to deal with it with the aircraft owner. But yeah, I would say everyone's 98% respectful on flights.
So have you always had a have you had any issues with flying yourself, like what do they call it?
Mechanicals?
No, no, not any mechanical issues. When you get like, say for instance, like when you get seasick, right? Like, have you?
Oh yeah, no.
So no issues.
So sorry. We did have someone. They didn't get seasick. They flew with the flu, and they told me that they were on in the back lavatory for 2.5 hours just throwing up. But that's just
Yeah,
because they had a pre-sickness having to get home regardless. They had the flu. But no,
yeah.
no one ever getting seasick or sorry, getting flight sickness or motion sickness up on board.
Motion sickness. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
I
Yeah,
haven't
motion
had any of
sickness.
those issues. Knock on wood.
All right. So if you in this new era, I think I touched on it a little bit. So how important is the social media aspect of it? Like getting your word out there, letting people know you exist, joining podcasts, building a brand for the business. What other creative things have you done here recently to get your name out there?
So one of my main, and I always put this out here because people, I mean, people can copy you, but they can't be you. What I try to do is I go to events, and if I know that I find out who my ideal customer is, and a lot of them are speakers at keynote speakers at big events, big conferences. I'll get a backstage pass, and I'll put myself in the back room with them so I can put myself in front of them. Social media, cool. Social media is a big aspect of marketing, but being able to be face to face with that client, that's one of the biggest thing in sales. So I tell anyone, if you're in the aviation, if you're in any type of sales and you can get in front of your client however it may be, do it. Because I've been to big events, big conferences, 10x type conferences, and got in front of the speakers where they've booked that night. Like, hey, I have a trip coming up. Can you send it to me? Yep, I got my team working on it right now. By the time that conversation's over, by the time I leave there, they're like, hey, I just got your quote already from someone on your team. And I've had it booked within that same day, which is awesome.
No, that's fantastic. So, what is your favorite jet so far, or what is the consensus of customers that say what's their preferred jet, or do they have specifications? It just has to be a jet. Like, how does that conversation work?
I mean, so my personal favorite, I like Challenger 300s. It's
Okay,
roomy. It could get coast to coast. It's a great jet. A lot of people prefer citations over hawkers. They all have their different needs. Just like with cars, like you might be a Mercedes guy. Um, I might be different. I might be just a Ford guy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Everyone has their different needs and stuff, but we get that all at the beginning, so that way we're not sending them what they don't like. But we always ask them, "Hey, what's your preferred aircraft?" And they'll tell us, and I'll be like, "Hey, you want something similar too, so you can check price? Because sometimes you can fly 3 or 4 grand difference if you fly on a different model that's in a different position." They're like, "Yeah, I'll give it a chance."
So, what are some of the shortcomings of this industry? Like, where have you had certain struggles and you've had to make those adjustments? And something that you learned from one of those shortcomings. Is there anything that you could identify and just kind of share one of those stories and moments where you kind of may have dropped the ball or underestimated something and it kind of backfired, but you were able to kind of learn from it?
I would say marketing was the biggest thing at the beginning. Finding the right marketer. Everyone says they could do marketing these days, and they say, "Oh, it's a business is a business, and we can market this." Private aviation and finding people who are willing to spend $5,000 to $10,000 an hour on an aircraft, it's hard to get in front of them. So even on this podcast, I'll tell anybody who listens to this podcast, if you're in marketing and you think you can get leads for private jets, I'll challenge you on anything. I will challenge you. I will give you a 3-month challenge to see if you can do it because we've done it all in house over the past couple of years because everyone that we've hired just hasn't delivered. And
Yeah.
I'd say marketing is the biggest thing is getting your name out there in front of the right people, not just people.
And that's a key metric as well, because sometimes, some marketers, me having a background in that, understanding that dynamic, sometimes the ideal is to cast this broad, wide net, and statistically the metrics isn't going to line up. And so even like with me, when it comes to fundraising, or I'm going to specific organizations or specific companies where I know that this is automatically what they do anyway, right? It's just about my presentation to introduce myself to it. So I can see how some people can be a little overzealous
Yeah,
and think marketing is marketing, all businesses are the same. But when it comes to high ticket and high quality, it is not all the same. You definitely have to, you'll oversaturate yourself and your expertise just by playing in waters where there are no sharks there at all. It's all minnow, right?
yeah,
So you got to make sure you go stand next to the money. I think that's a great concept of going to events and getting backstage, making that investment, right, to be able to do that. But then it comes down to your prowess and your superpowers and fearlessness, going up to
sure,
people, having that conversation, being charismatic, and being able to kind of share what it is that you do to get, you only need one at a time. If you get
exactly.
2 or 3, that's great. But with high ticket, you're looking for that 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses a month, and then you had a great month.
Yeah, and in this day and age too, everyone works remote, everyone works from a computer, everyone works from a phone, whatever it may be. So separating yourself, people aren't used to having conversations face to face anymore, especially the younger generation. So
Yeah.
that's another way to separate yourself is fine-tuning your speaking skills, having a good handshake with someone, talking to someone. Like I press it on my 7-year-old son too. We practice a handshake every single morning before we leave school. We do our regular like fist, like hard handshake, and then we have our little secret handshake. But I'm like, hey, your handshake means everything, and how you talk to people, eye contact, everything.
A few more things. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but JetSetter.
Yeah.
How did you come up with JetSetter? Why JetSetter? And also talk about where people can find you and book flights and all that type of stuff and find you on social media.
So my dad's the one who came up with the name. He randomly threw a couple names out there. I don't even remember the other ones, but he's like,
Okay.
"Hey, jet setter." It's a term of someone who basically flies private. I'm a jet setter. I'm this, and I'm like, "Is it trademarked?" He's like, "No, it's not." And then we went around a couple things to where we expanded our name. Our full name is JetSetter Charter Jet Service, which is not taken. We were able to do that. But everything I wear is JetSetter. So I mean, there's a JetSetter magazine. There's a JetSetter hotel service, but when you're looking up JetSetter private or charter jet service, you're finding us. Our
Nice.
website, 2jetset.com, the number 2jetset.com. I do a lot of, I don't, I've really just started the social media aspect of that page, but everything you see for personal branding is going to be on my page, Mike Howard, the number 3 at Mike Howard 3. But to bring you back to personal branding, you asked me about my hat. I don't wear anything outside that house unless it has either my shirt, my hat, a jacket, a pullover. If I buy something, like my wife just got me an aloe sweatshirt, but I had the Jet Setter brand put on it. Like I'm a walking billboard of my company, just like you are with your son's company. And what I notice is when I wear a private jet around, it's an attention grabber. People, what's Jet Setter? What's that? It gets you talking about your company. And then people are like, oh, I don't fly private, but my uncle does. Let me get you in contact with him. So as long as you're being seen, marketing is just not on social media. It's everywhere you go. I guarantee if you take a little brain challenge, the next time you go out or you go for a drive, try to count how many different brands you see within a 5 minute span. I guarantee it's going to be over 50 to 100.
I mean, I see it all the time. Having that marketing brain myself, I'm always wired to see that. It's kind of like when you go and buy a car, and all of a sudden that's all you see on the freeway. Your car
That's
all
it.
over the
Yep.
place, right?
Yep.
So it's the exact same thing. Well, Mike, I think you have a great story. I think it shows the entire entrepreneur spirit. And I think a lot of people are going to be inspired by your story and your journey and your resilience and your, I think one of the things that stood out too, though, that people can take from it is that you made a proclamation, so to speak. You said that I'm making myself unemployable, right? And so when I heard that, when other people hear that, that's a testament to, Arnold Schwarzenegger said he didn't have a plan B, right? He said, this is going to work out. And I think more people should really buy into that mindset, because once you get to that place, within yourself, sometimes you don't know how it's going to happen, but if you just hang in there, that 45-day lag period where you didn't make a sale after the first one, that's when it come into play, just that belief in yourself. And so your story, I think, is going to be a great highlight for the audience to be able to just be inspired, by someone who's sticking to it. And hopefully some people can come out and book a jet, either solo or with a group of folks as well, because we're always, so everything you share would be on the post as well, all the links, because Tina reach out and make sure that we have everything we need to promote it or whatever. But man, if there's anything that we can ever do as far as supporting what you're doing, and we'll keep you posted on things that we're doing and opportunities to see you continue to be successful, man. I'm proud of you, man. Great job.
I appreciate it, man. We'll have to get on a jet sometime.
Oh man, I got to get my permission slip signed, man. My wife, she just refuses to fly private, or let me fly private. But I think I can sneak on there once. I can sneak on there once or twice.
Tell her to look up the safety versus private versus commercial. It'll change her whole aspect on everything. I'm telling you.
I have chat GPT'd it and copied and pasted it and sent it to her and everything.
It's like first class, man. Once you fly first class once, I think Steve Harvey said it, you find a way to fly first class again.
Right.
Same thing with private. The first time I ever flew private, I was like, man, how do I get this to be the normal where I never have to step on a commercial?
We may have to do the next podcast in person and maybe do it on a jet. It may be some uniquely different.
That would be rad. Yeah, I'd be stoked. I can get that set up.
All right, let's definitely talk about how we can do that, man. But what was your father-in-law's name?
Oh, my stepdad, Paul.
Your stepdad,
Paul.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Paul Howard.
Shout out to Paul, man, for supporting you and having such a clever, witty comeback about you not even cleaning your own room, man. It's such a great thing to have partners, man. I'm telling you, and someone to believe in you, to kind of stand right there, toe to toe with you. It's an absolute blessing, man. So from my family, the podcast family, we're going to continue to pray for you guys to support. Obviously, this is a faith-based, podcast. And so we always just like putting prayer over everybody who comes onto the show, man. I just see you doing great things. I can just tell your energy that you're going to get out there and get it. You're going to hunt. You're going to go eat, man. But we'll definitely stay in touch. You're part of our family and our network as well. And like I say, anything we can do to help you succeed, any opportunities, we'll definitely be, tapping you on the shoulder and just trying to see how we can help what you got, grow even more, brother.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you guys.
That sounds good. Well, guys, this has been another great episode of the Major Aviation Podcast with Mike Howard, successful entrepreneur. Hey, he is the innovation behind JetSetter Private Charters. Definitely go and follow them on Instagram. Go to the website, check them out. They're doing some really amazing things. If you want to get in touch with him, I'm sure he reaches back out through his Instagram and social media and stuff like that. He will love to answer any questions that you have. Other than that, thank you guys for joining the podcast, and I can't wait for you guys to see the next episode. Stay major-rated.
So what'd you think?
Yeah, man, if I try the white ones?
No problem.
A new shoe with the same old soul. Superstar fella from Adidas.